Hi, and welcome to College Planning Untangled, where we help simplify the lives of our families that are sending a kiddo off to college.
Mhm.
I'm here with Bobby Hood. My name's Kristen Clark. Bobby, have you heard of new collar jobs before this?
I have never heard of new collar jobs. It rhymes with blue collar, I guess, but nope, no idea.
Yeah, I when I came across this, and I've heard a little buzz around this as of recently. I mean, we know cost of college is going up, and people are just rethinking, what they should be doing.
hmm
And the kids are kind of leading the way on that too, by the way. But I do see and talk to a lot of parents that, are okay with their kids not going to college.
hmm
So, a nice thing is there are these things called new collar jobs that you can do well, make a good living, and, get into something that is interesting.
I'm fascinated to know. I mean, I certainly know that there are lots of new kinds of jobs being created. I know that, like, prompt engineer for AI is a thing, right?
Well, AI for sure, I think is
Mhm.
going to, that's going to blossom. There's going to be so much happening around that for sure.
Yeah, but I'm
And
sure there's a lot more, though, right? Yeah, like,
absolutely. Yeah, and where we're seeing these is in healthcare,
okay.
engineering, believe it or not, technology, software. Hey, and I see it all the time out in, for solopreneurs where people get into
Mhm.
marketing and
Oh, sure.
make a nice living doing that. So
Absolutely.
the what's interesting is a little history on this. Not all large corporations are totally buying into this yet, right?
Mhm.
They're like eliminating the whole idea of needing a college education, but
Right.
there are some out there. And IBM is one that 10 years ago really looked at what was going on in their organization, and they were having a hard time hiring people that
Oh, that's
had
interesting.
college educations. Yeah. And they started going through all of their job descriptions and realized that, hey, we've got people out there that may have had certifications, they may have um, done some type of a tech school,
Mhm.
apprenticeships, internships that have the skills that they need. So it's really more about skills based hiring
Right.
versus college education.
Well, that makes sense. I mean, I would think that if you go through and you actually look at the requirements, probably they had all these jobs with all these requirements. Then at the end, it
Yeah,
would
and
say,
then
and
for those
college degree
listening,
required,
what's
right?
interesting is there IBM actually put together an internship program
Mhm.
for young people and apprenticeships within the organization so that they actually could, you know, see the cream of the crop and hire those people without college education
Oh,
to
that makes complete
roll in.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. So, I know as we're thinking through this, one question I had, and I wanted to figure it out is, okay, which types of jobs,
Mhm.
right, are
Yeah.
truly hiring for that? And we've got computer technicians.
hmm
In the healthcare industry, I saw that, we're looking at stenographers,
Sure.
there's pharmacy techs. There was one that I saw that was kind of interesting. It was called a field service engineer.
Oh,
So it's
wow.
in the building industry, and the service engineers would go out and maybe install ceiling fans,
Okay.
or they were making sure that all of the engineering plans are being followed
hmm
and the
Wow.
architecture plans. Yeah, so there's some interesting ways that they're looking at this and doing this. And by the way, when I was looking up salaries, the salaries in this, there's one that was a director of nursing
Oh, wow.
that in that career you can make over $125,000.
Wow.
Yeah. So there's
Oh,
definitely
yeah.
some cool things that you can do with that.
That's very, very cool. Yeah, and I mean, it just makes sense that now, it may be a slow process for some of the bigger companies to like finally realize that, a college degree may not be required for so many of the things that they're doing. And it's just going to be the future. And so right now you got to kind of keep on the lookout for finding when, the ones that are, but I think over time that's going to be part of the story. And it's just, when for now, like so many people they look at college and they say, okay, we're going to spend what $300,000 or $200,000 to get a degree, and if you and if you're doing that with loans, I mean, the choice between okay, I could make this amount more, but with those loans compared to if I can, find one of these jobs, and not need the college degree at all. I mean, that's, financially, it just makes sense.
Well, and I got to tell you, Bobby, growing up, my younger
Mhm.
brother just hated school. I mean, it was painful to
Yeah.
watch, you know?
Mhm.
And he ended up going to a tech school and then decided to end up going to a four-year college.
Sure.
But I see so many kids out there in that same situation where they're like, I just don't like it, right?
Mhm.
It's not where they feel comfortable. And I get it. I can see why they're looking at it and going, I don't want to endure another 4 years
Mhm.
of school,
Absolutely.
you
Or
know?
just not ready to do that right now, right? And
That
after
too.
a couple of years of experience, maybe then you do have something that you realize that you do need to do, and now you're ready, right? Because after you've spent a couple of years in the workforce, it's very easy in some situations. Like, it would be a lot easier to go and succeed at college once you have learned to have the work ethic and get up every day and study and all that. But if you are not prepared, you're going to go to college. And like that story we tell so many times, right? If you go to college, you're not prepared and you're not ready to figure out how to do the work on your own. Yeah, you can get lost and end up wasting that money and, and failing out or quitting.
Yes, and feeling like a failure.
Right.
And I agree with you,
Absolutely.
Bobby. I mean, I think there's so much more power in let me take a year
Hmm.
and start to figure some things out. I will always tell parents, make sure if your kids do take a gap year that they are working and they're, moving forward and trying to figure out what's happening. But absolutely, there is no, I'm going to use the word shame. It's probably not the
Hmm.
right word, but no
Right.
shame in any of that because
Mhm.
it's everybody has their own journey and it's okay,
Absolutely,
and
and yeah, and I mean, thinking about like some of these, new collar jobs with like, things like managing social media and helping with marketing and running the social media accounts of places and all that stuff. I mean, these are things that a lot of people walking out of high school are completely prepared to do, right?
oh my gosh, Bobby, with all like the computer coding, and I just put that on the
Mhm,
list. There are so many classes out there for teens that
mhm.
they can get in there and by the way, know it really well
Oh yeah,
because they're just a native at it and they pick it up quickly.
mhm,
You you know how to do it and
yeah,
you can walk into a job and be able to do what they need you to do. So yeah,
absolutely.
it's nice in my mind to have choices.
Hmm.
And I
Yeah.
know there's still a bias with a lot of us that grew
Mhm,
up, the Gen Xers that grew up and we've been
mhm,
told forever and ever and ever and ever, get a degree, get a degree, get a degree.
mhm.
So it's hard sometimes when you have your own child to not have that happen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, right. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's difficult. And so that's part of the thing is just like being aware of this and like, and being aware that now there are a lot of options more than just go straight to college, which is what we thought
Oh, dang it.
everyone had.
Usually I can finish his sentences, but I'm not quite sure where he was going with that one. You're back, Bobby.
Yeah. Oh, I was just saying, yeah, like that there are so many more pathways now, right? Than what we used to think, which is just like all you do, you go to high school, you go to college, you didn't even think about it, right? Is what we thought the only pathway was. Now there are lots.
Oh my gosh, so many. And, you bring up well, you made me think of something. When
Mhm.
you talk to a teenager, truly they know about 12 different
Mhm.
careers. They really just don't know this what's all out there.
Right.
So this to me is also, I think, an eye opener for them to be able to go, oh my gosh, I never thought about being a building technician or
Mhm.
getting into sonographer, being a sonographer, all of
Mhm.
these different things that I'm amazed, Bobby. I look around and I'm like, yeah, I guess somebody has to do that,
Right.
So because I'm on the lookout. So it's interesting that yes, we have so many different ways now to get an
Mhm.
education. And we need to, I think,
Absolutely.
open our minds to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's the same story that we always say about colleges too, which is most students only know like five colleges, right? And so you have to research colleges, you have to research jobs and figure out what would be a place that's a good home for you, both college wise and as a career. So absolutely.
Yep. And, for parents, if you're looking for different new collar jobs just to get educated, I literally went in and just said, what are the new collar jobs?
Hmm.
I tried looking up what companies hire new collar,
Hmm.
and I wasn't super successful at that yet.
Hmm.
But I think going on Indeed and finding some different
Yeah.
places where it's no degree required or
Mhm.
certifications required or apprenticeships required, that I think is a good way to start that search.
Absolutely.
All right.
All right. Sounds great.